Farmland market value in the state of Nebraska continues to decline. According to a preliminary report of the 2018 Nebraska Farm Real Estate Market Survey, this year marks the fourth consecutive year of the downward trend since reaching a high in 2014. Jim Jansen, a UNL Extension Educator, says the market survey divides the state into 8 districts. The 2018 market value of farmland in the state averaged $2,745. We recently spoke with Jim and began by asking him how the market survey was conducted.
The 2018 Nebraska Farm Real Estate Market Survey and Report is an annual survey conducted by the University of Nebraska-Lincoln of land professionals across the state. These folks include land managers, agricultural appraisers, as well as agricultural bankers. These are the folks for their profession. They have an insight onto the land industry in terms of what things are selling for, how much things are renting for, what are the financial constraints of the transactions that are occurring. So it's a very small population of folks that do this across the state, but they have firsthand knowledge because of the number of transactions that they might see or deal with each year.
According to Jim Jansen's Crop Watch article, the results of the 2018 Nebraska Farm Real Estate Market Survey shows another year of downward pressure.
So the preliminary estimates that came out on March 14th, 2018 provided a summary on land values in addition to cash rent by region of the state. We divide the state of Nebraska into 8 different regions. These 8 regions include the Northeast, North, Northeast, Central, East, Southwest, South, and Southeast. These 8 regions share similar production attributes and constraints related to rainfall, soil type, whatever it might be. From this information, we've seen the land values for the state of Nebraska are down about 3% across the state. There were a few regions where it was a little bit more, some regions that were less. Cash rents were down slightly as well. It's kind of a mixed year given the situation we have on crop prices. We have very similar expectations for crop prices recently than what we did to 2017. Up until about 6 weeks ago, things were down still. Things look a little bit better now, so the expectations of many folks are a little bit higher.
We further asked Jim if any of the 8 Nebraska regions showed significant changes.
So related to cash rental rates and the percent changes that we've seen, there were a few cases where they were up slightly, but we've seen a lot of pressure in southwest Nebraska on irrigated cash rental rates. That wouldn't be surprising given some of the policies that are affecting the availability of groundwater there. Overarching, there were dryland croplands, or a few cases that were up just slightly, but the majority of the state, things were trending down. And keeping in mind, these are simply an average. This doesn't tell the whole story, and that's why we also publish the average of the low 3rd grade and average of the high 3rd grade, which would be the lower quality as well as higher quality land. So you have to think about how does your county sit relative to the region where you are located at.
According to Jim, survey participants also indicated that property taxes are one of the landowner's most critical concerns during rental negotiations.
So when it comes to negotiating cash rents in Nebraska, many folks make comments on our surveys. A few things to note. One, on the cash rental rates for irrigated cropland, that is a number assuming the landlord owns the entire irrigation system. So if you are an individual that brings a pivot, the power unit, some component of the irrigation system, you'd more than likely discount some of the rental rates that are reflected in our results to compensate the tenant for their contribution. Because if the tenant owns a pivot, the ground sold, more than likely they're going to take the pivot with them. It's not an improvement the landowner owns. Also, when it comes to grazing land, major things like fencing, weed control, so we're talking thistles, yucca plants, cedar trees, whatever it might be. If you have a landlord or a tenant that's willing to do some of those things, that would reflect value into the lease for one party or the other. That would probably as well reflect negotiating an equitable cash rental rate.
According to Jim, these final results from the survey will be published in June 2018.
So when it comes to finding any information on real estate in Nebraska, the website that we take a look at is agecon.unl.edu/real estate. On there we have the preliminary estimates that were published, in addition to our entire real estate report series, which provides much greater detail on things like who's buying land, who's selling land, financial things of that nature, as well as some helpful resources on negotiating cash rents and other considerations you might take a look at.